Hey guys, it's Lynn with Littlefoot Nursery. I'm here with Maizie, who is my Maizie sculpt by Andrea Arcello. She is a vinyl reborn baby, and her reborn artist, I cannot find her anywhere on Facebook, but her name is Maria Silukova. And I bought this very sweet girl secondhand through Dolphin, and she is absolutely exquisite. I love her so much. She's the biggest baby I have in my collection, and she can wear really, either 0 to 3 months or 3 to 6 months size clothing. But I a lot of times will get the 3 to 6 month size clothes just because I kind of like my baby's clothing to fit a little bit more loose, so it's not too skin tight. But anyway, I have a new outfit I wanted to try on her. I have not shown this to you guys yet. It was such a small haul, it didn't seem worth making a separate haul video, but I have a new tea collection outfit. So you can see these beautiful leggings and this adorable top. And isn't this adorable? It's purple with this like really cute mesh kind of overlay on the front and the back. It's just gorgeous. Like honestly, if they made this in an adult size, I would be tempted to wear this outfit. So I love it. And it's so cute because T's collection had a sale, and Audrey saw this outfit because I ordered some clothing for her as well. And she was like, "Mommy, is that for me?" And I said, "No, sorry, it's for one of my babies," because they did not have this one in her size, sadly. It had already sold out. So, oh well. Anyway, I have a topic for you guys, and this is actually based off of a comment that a lady in the community messaged me about. And basically it's a little bit of a complicated situation, so I'll try to explain it. So it's a situation of a silicone baby, and the topic for today is about first rights of refusal. And if you guys aren't sure what that means exactly, basically what it means is, let's say let's say seller A, let's say person A sold something to person B, and but there is a provision attached to that where they're asking person B, if they ever decide to sell that item, to please let them know, and they might want to have the option to purchase that item back. Okay, so that would be called a first right of refusal. And a good analogy, like a good kind of real life analogy outside of dolls would be, for example, with timeshares. Now, we have a Disney timeshare, and there's a clause in the contract that basically says that if we ever want to sell our timeshare, we can't just kind of go directly to the secondary market and sell it. Disney has the right to purchase the timeshare back from us if they so choose, so that they can then sell it on the open market. So, and basically, if we were to decide to sell it for a certain price on the secondary market, before that transaction can be completed, it needs to go back to Disney to see if Disney wants to buy it at that price instead, if that makes sense. And that way they kind of control their inventory and whatnot. So anyway, so that's just one random example. Now, let me go ahead and change her while I chat. So the situation here, if you guys can follow, and it took me a bit to follow it as well, is you have person A. Okay, let's just say this is in the doll community, and it's a silicone baby. So you have person A, who purchased the silicone baby directly from the artist. Okay, she didn't own the baby for very long, then decided to sell it to person B, and person B also did not own the baby for very long, and then decided to sell it to person C. Okay, if you guys are still following me. So person C at this point keeps the baby for a while. She keeps the baby for about 2 years. Okay, and then she decides, and then what ends up happening is life happens, right? And she needs the funds. She needs to part with this baby, but it's a reluctant sale. She really would prefer not to have to sell this baby. And I know many of us in the community as collectors, we've been through this before. You sell a baby because you need the money, not because you would part with the baby otherwise, and not because you've lost the bond with the baby or anything like that, but it's purely for financial reasons. Wow, I am so glad I got her the 3 to 6 month size, because it kind of barely fits her. I think this is going to work out perfectly. And so okay, so if you guys are still following me, so person C now has the doll, and she's had it for 2 years. And yes, so she comes across this. So basically, it's a situation where she really needs to sell the baby, and she decides to sell it to. She decides to sell it to person D. Okay. However, person D was going to follow through with it. So basically, she had a clause with person D saying that if person D ever were to sell the baby, that she would then need to give person C first rights of refusal, i.e., give person C, mommy C, the opportunity to buy that baby back. And so person D agrees to this. However, before they can finalize the transaction, person D says to person C, oh, hey, you know what? I came across another baby that I want more. However, I found you another buyer, person E. Okay? Now, person E has agreed to the terms about the first right of refusal to offer that baby back to person C. If you guys are following all of this. Okay. And then so basically, they complete the transaction. Person C sells the baby to person E, and all is well for a while. Okay, first of all, guys, is this not the cutest outfit on Maisie? This is so adorable. I love it. Okay, hold on. Hold on, quick dolly break. Look at that face. She's so cute. Oh my gosh, that is so sweet. I don't know if they still have this outfit on the website, but man, that is adorable. If they had this in a smaller size, I would seriously buy multiples and give them to my friends because they are so beautiful. So pretty. But they only had the 3 to 6 month size available, sadly. So you really do have to be a bigger baby. But you know what? I think this would fit Evelyn too. So I'm going to have to try it on her sometime. Okay, so quick hug for Maisie. Oh my gosh, I love this baby still. All right, so then person E now has the doll. And I don't remember at this point how long she's had the doll. I feel like it's a pretty short time. So she decides she doesn't want to keep the doll, that she wants to sell it. However, so instead of contacting person C to see if person C would like to purchase her back, she sells the doll to person F. Okay, and you know, person F didn't know about this whole first right of refusal thing or anything like that. And then person F decides she doesn't want to keep the doll and decides to sell the baby on. And so she lists the doll for sale, on, the, I don't know, Silicone Baby forums or wherever she listed it. And lo and behold, person B, okay, B as in boy, the second mommy who ever owned the baby, sees this doll come up for sale. She goes, oh my gosh, I had that baby once. Oh, I would love to buy her back from you. I would love to buy her back. I'd love to have her back. And person B, is pretty reputed collector in the community. And so person F, if I have this right, person F decides to sell it back to person B. Now, person C sees the baby listed for sale and is confused. She's like, wait a minute. So she contacts person F to say, hey, and explains the whole situation, how she had the doll, sold it to person E, and person E basically did not honor the first right of refusal and sold it on to her. So she and basically said, hey, if you ever decide to sell her, please let me know. But by then it was too late because she already decided to sell it to person B. So so it's a whole messy situation, very complicated, and if you guys are still following me, basically person C contacted me and she was really upset that all of this had went down, and I don't blame her. Like, she had the baby for the longest, I think clearly had a bond. And it was a reluctant sale. So, I totally get where she's coming from. I also understand person F, who purchased it from person E, probably not knowing about any of the first right of refusal stuff. She probably, I don't really think she can be held at fault. I mean, I guess at this point, the only best recourse would be for person C to contact person B and say, hey, you know what, like, this whole situation went down. If you ever decide to part with this baby, please let me know. And I think that that's pretty much the best that this person can expect at this stage. But it is such a bummer kind of a thing. And so a few things I thought about with this whole story is, when you're selling a baby, the first right of refusal, I want to think, and Jeannie, my friend Jeannie, made a really, good comment on like one of my recent videos about like selling a baby, like when a sale falls through and just kind of how much heartbreak can result from that. And she had basically said for herself, she would always put the friendship first. And I guess it depends, when you have two people selling to each other, what is their prior relationship? How does that compare to the love for that particular doll? And, we're all here in this hobby because of our love for babies and love for dolls. And it can be really, really hard to let go of a doll once you're bonded. So I know it's a really, really tricky situation. And I guess I don't know why, person E didn't honor the first right of refusal. I'm not really sure why. That seems strange to me because it seems like if you want to sell a baby, it's nice to be able to, sell it on to like just sell it back to the original person you bought it from. That would just be like the easiest thing to do. I did hear that, so the plot thickens, okay? So when person C sold the baby to person E, okay, because remember person D decided not to go through the transaction, she sent the baby with a huge box opening, tons and tons of outfits, including some really nice higher end baby, like designer outfits, okay? And then I heard when person E sold it to person F, she kept some of those outfits and did not send everything on with the baby. Like she kept some of those outfits. And it's not like she did anything illegal or anything like that. It's not like she technically scammed anyone. And I'm trying to think too, that's probably a good like separate video. Like, do you always send the baby on with the things that came with the baby? I think for me, my rule of thumb there is if it was something that came with the original artist, I send it on. So for example, my Noah, who is my Gabigail by Claire Taylor, I don't have him anymore. I sold him on and I had purchased him secondhand. And this was also a situation of first right of refusal where his original mommy who sold him to me also asked me, hey, if you ever decide to sell him, can you please let me know? Because she needed the money at the time and, to give her the option to buy him back. So I did honor that first right of refusal before I put him up for sale. I reached out to her first and I said, hey, I just want to let you know that I'm going to be selling my Noah on, and did you want to buy him back? And she said no at the time. So I went ahead and put him up for sale, sold him, etc. And I did send him along with everything that she sent him to me with, that I can remember. I think, yeah, and then I threw in, I think, even a couple of additional outfits as well. So the box openings should ideally get bigger, not smaller. I'm trying to think if there was any, there might have been like one thing that came with, like this little like Miffy plush or this little stuffed animal or something that might have come with one of my other dolls, that when I sold that doll on, it didn't, I didn't include it. And so there's like, I remember there was like one knit set that came with my Evelyn by Cassie Brace, that I kept because it fit Maisie and one of my dolls really well, and I just really loved that set. So and also since so I guess for the most part, now that I think about it, yeah, I guess there were a couple of things that I kept from a box opening and didn't pass along. There's also the situation when I resold my Kylie, I did not send her original dress she came with home with her because it was a little too big for her. So I just said, okay, I'll just keep that dress for another baby. So I don't think there's a rule that you like have to send the original clothing back, but I think it's nice, especially if it's something that the artist originally sent and especially if it was included in the original photos. So that was my own personal experience with first right of refusal, and it most often applies. I feel like I see it more with silicone babies, for whatever reason, than reborns. So trying to think what else to talk about with the topic. I guess so. Even if you have a first right of refusal stipulation, when you sell the doll, it's really out of your control whether the buyer decides to honor it. And I guess this is kind of a tough like lesson learned that a buyer may say, yeah, no, totally, I'll let you know if I ever decide to sell the baby. But then but you never know, like maybe she gets approached by a friend of hers in the community who's like, oh my gosh, I like want this baby so bad, and maybe she's closer to her friend than to the original seller. I still think the right thing to do is to try is to honor that first right of refusal. If you verbally agree to something, I really do think you should keep your word. That's just me. But at the end of the day, like I think you have to kind of realize when you're selling a doll that that's a risk, that the buyer may not honor that first right of refusal. So you have to be really prepared to say goodbye to that baby, and not treat it like the baby is just out on a loan and that you'll kind of be able to get the baby back. um, I think the other maybe question that this brings up too is in terms of the resale price of the doll. Like if somebody were to sell the baby back, would they just automatically offer the baby for what they purchased it for? That's what I did with Noah, because he was still in like immaculate perfect condition, and I really rarely handled him, so that was kind of what I did there. And then, so that's one question, because I could see it being a sketchy situation. Let's say you bought a doll for 3,000 and you have this first right of refusal thing, and maybe that doll has appreciated in value. So perfect example would be like an Ella by Jenny Lee. Okay, so from the time that baby was or oh, Luna by Jenny Lee. So when Luna was offered at the Rose Doll Show 2017, I think she was priced at like maybe 2,500. And then just literally months later, I felt like I saw Luna's going for 5,000, 5,500 even plus. And so her price literally doubled in value. So if you had purchased, let's say you had purchased the Luna, you know, secondhand at that time when it was at the lower price, and you decide to offer it back to the original mommy, um, I still think you should offer it back at the original price. I don't think you should try to jack the price up, although I wonder if that happens. I imagine it could. So anyway, this is a really complicated hobby. They're high, the doll prices are at high price points. Plus, there's so many emotions involved, and it can be really, really tough. So I think when the lesson is when you decide to let go of a baby, you need to be really prepared to let go of that baby. But it is hard. I think sometimes we sell a baby to buy another one, and maybe the new one that we got we didn't love it as much as the one that we let go of. And so that can be just a really tough situation. And so anyway, guys, that's all I have to say on the topic. I would love your opinions below. Like, have you dealt with first right of refusal, in any of the buying and selling of reborns or silicones? And when do you feel like you need to go back and check, with the original mommy, whether they want the doll back? I feel like for myself, if I haven't specifically said, hey, please let me know if you ever decide to sell this baby, I'm not putting that stipulation at all on the sale. Like, and also when I bought Miss Maizie here, I bought her from a lovely dolly friend who actually lives overseas in Europe, and she is like the sweetest lady. She did not have anything like that with her sale too, and I feel like she probably could have sold Maisie for more money than I feel like I got a really good deal on her, but she didn't put any clauses on that at all. And honestly too, I feel like if you're dealing with overseas shipments, like, I don't know. I mean, if I were purchasing from someone who wasn't in the US and they wanted first right of refusal to sell the baby back, I don't know if I would want to do that. Like, I feel like with a silicone baby, there's that risk that something, that they can't insure the full amount. So I just will not, unfortunately, I just don't feel comfortable selling and shipping a silicone baby overseas. That's just me, because the post office will not insure past $650. And even a really expensive Reborn, I would have hesitations as well. If the doll is valued at $650 or less, then that's one thing. But basically, the only way I could do that transaction would be if the other person wanted to assume the risk. Albeit, I think it's a very low risk that the post office will lose your package, but still, I would be losing sleep over it. So anyway, I hope this was an interesting topic. Thank you so much to Person C, who private messaged me explaining the whole situation and suggesting it as a topic video for us to chat about in the community. I think it really is a good one. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. I will talk to you soon. And Maisie's going to say bye.